Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today for the investment conference, where we will learn a bit more about Slovenia's investment environment. We will learn about some good opportunities to invest here and about its innovativeness and renowned workforce. The conference will consist of 3 panel discussions. During the first panel, we will look at the reasons to invest in Slovenia. In the second panel discussion, we will focus on Slovenia's innovative environments and solutions, while the third panel will look at the strengths of the Slovenian labor market and workforce. My name is Maja Dragovic. I'm a business development specialist at the company Beta, and I will be your host for today. I will have a lot of questions for our guests, but I encourage you to also post your own questions in the chat box that will be available online at all times. So, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Simon Zajc, the State Secretary of the Ministry of Economic Development and Technology of the Republic of Slovenia, to open the conference. Mr. Zajc, please.
Dear investors, there are numerous reasons why it is smart to invest in Slovenia. Not only it has been recognized as one of the world's most sustainable countries, but also high quality of life makes Slovenia a perfect country to live and work in. Slovenia is one of the fastest growing economies in Central and Eastern Europe and is extremely export orientated. It is among the most developed countries in the world. What do our partners value when doing business with Slovenia? Business and environment-friendly economic environment with efficient solutions. Investors see Slovenia as a leading country in macroeconomic stability and one of the safest places in the world, with the world's second most reliable and secure energy supply system. Slovenia is an open economy for foreign investors, ranking one of the least restrictive countries among OECD members. Slovenian business partners choose Slovenia also for its high degree of industrialization, proximity to major production hubs, and reaching global supply chains. Our excellent geographical position in the heart of Europe and at the crossroads of TNT corridors, quality infrastructure with well-developed transport and telecommunication network, fast development of information society have attracted many international companies to become our partners and suppliers. Slovenia means easy access to 700 million people in the regional markets. We are already taking key steps aiming to build a green, creative and smart economy, and we strive for a systemic and efficient approach in everything we do. Slovenia is rich in natural resources, wood, soil, water, and has great potential for transition to the green economy. A corporate culture of transparency and accountability, observance of international technical standards, personal integrity, and company loyalty make a foreign manager's job easy ever since the first big international companies established their operations in Slovenia. We are important research, development, and innovation player in the region. The key strengths of the Slovenian innovation systems are human resources and the international cooperation of researchers and innovators. Slovenia's talented workforce delivers creative and sustainable solutions. Investor confidence thrives on legal and institutional reforms designed to facilitate investment. Starting a company in Slovenia is straightforward and easy, through single access points to register a limited liability company, obtain a construction permit, and carry out any other administrative procedures. We have been working tirelessly to ensure Slovenia's business and investment environment remains competitive. We have been supporting domestic and foreign direct investments through various incentives for R&D, employment, and financial subsidies. And we are committed to improving it even further with proactive reforms that will enable greater competitiveness of the Slovenian economy and create conditions for the restructuring of traditional industry into an industry of knowledge and innovation. We count on the industry to lead the transition and recovery as the engine of innovation and economic growth. We will support it with sustainable, targeted, and investment-oriented measures. This will help the industry and enterprise to restructure their processes, boost productivity, and become more resilient. The resilience and recovery of Slovenia will be achieved through the digital transformation of certain sectors of the economy and society, reduced administrative burdens, and greater openness and flexibility of the Slovenian economy, and by strengthening the innovation potential of all relevant stakeholders. Moreover, we intend to boost investment also in infrastructure and social sector, which will significantly contribute to sustainable economic growth in the coming years. I firmly believe that our vision of green, creative, smart Slovenia is on the right path for attracting investments also in the future, since it encompasses the key future trends that every investor would benefit from. Slovenia is a location offering to establish development, research, marketing, and other activities for your entire business operation. Our government will continue to support such investments that bring higher added value per employee, work towards green and digital sustainability, and reduce the environmental impact. Therefore, if you are searching for a new investment, a reliable business partner, or if you are planning to set up or relocate an export business, choosing Slovenia could be the best decision you have ever made. We are warmly inviting you to consider Slovenia for your next investment project. Thank you all, and I wish you great success.
Thank you, Mr. Zajc. Let's now turn to our first panel, where we'll look at Slovenia's investment potential. Let me just introduce our guests, our panel guests first. Dr. Tomaž Kostanjevec, Director of Spirit Slovenia, Public Agency for Entrepreneurship, Internationalization, Foreign Investment and Technology.
Hello.
Ms. Sibyl Klančar, Head of Development Funding Office at the Ministry of Economic Development and Technology of the Republic of Slovenia. And Dr. Jure Stojan, Partner and Director of Research and Development at the ISR. We will first look at the short presentation by each of our panelists, and then we will move on to discussion. So, Dr. Kostanjevec, could we see your presentation first, please?
Of course.
Thank you. It's my privilege to be here. Warmly welcome to our virtual investment conference, Slovenia, the land of infinite potential. Today we will talk about why choosing Slovenia could be the best decision you ever made if you are searching for new investment or reliable business partner. So why is it smart to invest in Slovenia? Spirit Slovenia is governmental business development public agency which acts under the authority of the Ministry of Economic Development and Technology. We are a highly export-oriented country with good international economic cooperation. Our role is to help both exporters and investors abroad. We offer full support for foreign investors, completely free of charge. We can offer you information on industries, legislation, taxes and incentives, information on investment opportunities and local suppliers, guidance to industrial zones, links with industry, government and local authorities, as well as assistance in investment projects. Slovenia has many advantages and we are positioned in the heart of Europe. Let's look at just few advantages that Slovenia can offer. We are highly competitive. We are highly stable. We are green. We are safe. And we are one of fastest growing countries in Central and Eastern Europe. Slovenia's strategic position offers direct contact with more than 500 million customers across the continent. It is perfect for connecting global and regional businesses. We have all the advantages needed to do business across the Balkan region. Knowledge of the local language, customs and culture, as well as personal connections. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you need more information. Spirit Slovenia operates as one-stop shop. Our services are tailor-made and free of charge. Make the most of it.
Thank you, Dr. Kostanjevec. We will now look at the presentation by Ms. Klančar.
Thank you for the word. I'm so happy to be here with you. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, dear entrepreneurs, with key intervention law measures, we have helped the Slovenian economy in relatively good shape. Economic growth in Slovenia is higher than the original forecasts and is also above average on the European scale. Now, I think it's time to grow again and to adapt businesses to future challenges. Slovene National Recovery and Resilience Plan is a part of the whole next generation mechanism, which was launched by the European Commission to better face with negative impacts of the COVID crisis. National RRP is worth 200.5 billion euros. The mechanism of Slovenian RRP will engage various ministries, various public entities, bodies to implement various reforms and investments in those areas where important gaps have been detected. A large part of this mechanism will be led and coordinated by our Ministry of Economic Development and Technology. Our ministry is responsible for reforms and investments primarily focused on companies as our main target group. So we will provide 427 million euro worth package of direct support for companies. And we will cover a lot of areas. So the digital transformation of companies, research development and innovativeness, investments for higher productivity, circular economy, tourism, and energy efficiency. So our reforms and incentives will contribute to strengthening competitiveness and achieving higher added value in a way that is also responsible to the environment and is also supported by digitalization and the use of the most advanced technologies. We will strengthen the position, strength and influence of Slovenian companies in global value chains, and we will also stimulate Slovenian micro, small and medium-sized enterprises both to connect with each other and also with large companies, Slovenian and foreign ones. We will maintain jobs and create new jobs, support Slovenian knowledge and innovation, and focus on the possibility of later marketing. So, what can I say about the procedure? The implementation will be done with the help and collaboration with Spirit and Slovene Enterprise Fund. Most of the measures within the Slovenian RRP will be launched in the first quarter of the year 2022, but the first call for proposal will be ready until December 2021. So it will be the call for a proposal in the area of digital transformation for companies. I am kindly inviting you to join me to explore the possibilities and investment opportunities within Slovenian RRP mechanism within our ministry. So I'm happy to involve you to this process. Here is our contact. If you have some questions, additional questions, you can contact us. Thank you. We see each other. Goodbye.
Thank you, Ms. Klančar. Let's look at Dr. Stoyan's presentation as well before we move to the panel discussion. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be addressing you. My topic today is mapping the investment process. But just at the beginning, a couple words about the institution I represent here. It's the Institute for Strategic Solution, which is a think tank that supports and encourages international cooperation to foster sustainable economic and social development. The Institute was established as a result of our awareness that the world is changing and that a strategic alliance, one that would enable sustainable progress and development through cooperation at micro levels, is of highest importance for our future. Of course, what to expect once you're investing. An investment decision is not the end. It's the beginning of a process that can be managed and optimized. That is, if approached strategically, the time needed to get the investment up and running can be significantly shortened. But in order to do all that, somebody needs to look at the investment process, measure it, and draw up a map. This is precisely what we have done at ISORA. We have used a combination of research methods, including sitting down with actual investors from 10 major industries, a debriefing of sorts. This is what we have found out. Most investors tend to favor established industrial locations. This is because of network effects and synergies that arise from, for instance, having world-class scientists doing research next door. And educate the next generation of highly skilled workforce. But some investors can take up to a year to trim down their shortlist and settle on a preferred location. Most successful investors have engaged proactively with local stakeholders. Having support of the local government and the local community can significantly shorten the time needed to fulfill regulatory requirements, including those on the national level. There's no advocate like a supportive local activist. Even investors with strong in-house functions consult with local experts. They can help identify and avoid potential pitfalls. Slovenia is very open to investment. And there are many institutions, both public and private, that can help investors navigate their journey. To be clear, it's not a riskless journey, but it's much safer than usual. But also, there's no need for it to take longer than necessary, despite the beautiful scenery. To sum up, Slovenia is a great fit for investors seeking knowledgeable workers, efficient business processes, and a competitive cost base. Thank you very much. I'm happy to share details. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stoyan, and thank you all for such informative presentations. I would like to ask you, Dr. Kostanjevic, first. Spirit Slovenia is a one-stop shop for investors. But what exactly does that mean?
Hello at first, dear panelists, dear guests, dear investors. As you already heard today, the one-stop shop, it means that we are single point of contacts for all the firms that want to invest in Slovenia. All the activities that we make in our Spirit Slovenia public agency, which is in the authority of Ministry of Economic Affairs, it is free of charge. And we have all the connections to the chambers, to the ministries, to the embassies, and this is very important. At the first time when the firm come to Slovenia, we set a connection with him. In a certain way, we sign an agreement and we set the project. And if the location of the possibility for investment of the firm who want to invest here in Slovenia is positively connected with local authorities, then we go on with this project. And we seeking all the potential projects, and we pursue the project to the end. So I think that everybody who want to invest in Slovenia, it would be the most appropriate way to come to Spirit Slovenia, and we will give all the information to the achieving this project as soon as possible by us. So I think this is the
Thank you. Yes.
way.
But can I just ask you? You say you followed you helped the investor from start to finish, but do you look after them afterwards as well?
Yes, also thank you for the question. We also have one kind of program in Spirit Slovenia that is setting as aftercare for all the foreign investment that are already here with high foreign investment share. We always look at them, what is our ecosystem. We look for incentives, we look for taxes, and we try to set their ideas and potential also from abroad, but also from them, especially from them to other ministry, and we find a common political decision just to make them our ecosystem as appropriate as possible.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Stoyan, I can't avoid the question about COVID-19. I'm sorry. I think every conference has that. How has the pandemic impacted choice of location for investors? How has that shifted, if at all, over the last years?
To be quite honest, it's almost too soon to tell. But to start with, the term resilience has become central in this every type of business, including planning new investment. The key word of the time is how to make supply chain safer and how to make them more resilient. And I think many leaders in business have come to the conclusion that optimizing too much can be too much, that sometimes it pays to have a little bit of extra built in, so extra suppliers, extra partners, and obviously it's a great opportunity for most countries in this region. However, one has to be clear that obviously investments are something to be considered on a longer term basis, and obviously the question now is whether a hopefully one-off shock in the healthcare sector can be the decision point or the major driver of long-term decisions. I mean, obviously, a business person has to make sure the supply chains can withstand sudden shocks. So at the end of the day, I sincerely believe that COVID has the potential of becoming more than a simple shock. It can be something that will give the push for supply chains to change. I mean, we have been seeing for years now that things are going tight. And this current supply chain phenomenon of changing relationships, it's something that will certainly pose a lot of opportunities. I'm more on the optimistic side.
Yes, so every challenge does present an opportunity, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Yes. But can we go back a few more years? Because Slovenia has been a location for foreign investors for quite some time. How would you, Ms. Klančar, how would you assess foreign investments over the last 10 years in Slovenia, especially since the last financial crisis? There has been a huge shift, hasn't there?
Okay. Thanks for the word, for giving me the floor. So yeah, we started to developing and upgrading our internalization ecosystem for this past few years, and I believe that we actually made quite a lot of progress in this area. As you know, Slovenia is a very small country. Its market is a very small one. So our economy is really extremely open and export orientated. Another thing has to be mentioned. Only 2% of our companies, of Slovene companies, are big companies. So it makes the other part SMEs, right? So it's very important that we stimulate those SMEs to be connected with each other, to big companies, as well as foreign ones and also the domestic ones. So here we have quite a few problems going on, but I think we made a huge progress. Just to say a thing, if we see maybe the numbers in the past few years, I must say then that we actually in 2013 we started with the 9 billion euros of incoming foreign investments, but now at the end of 2020 we actually managed to increase this amount up to 16.6 billion euros.
Almost double.
And yeah, that's quite an impact. A huge progress has been made. So I think we have something to do in the coming years. We have to invest more, to support more our domestic investors and also the foreign ones. Maybe we want to see also the more spread regional diversification of investors, because we can see that most of investments that are happening in Slovenia are located in the central part of Slovenia. We know that we have some rural areas that we want to develop, and we have the opportunity also to maybe invest more then. So this is a kind of support that also our state, our ministry supports to invest more in the rural areas as well as the central Slovenia. So yeah, I think we really, there has been a huge progress made, but we not have yet achieved our goals. So, as we know that this part of investments are crucial for Slovenia, we are so happy that we have now this huge amount of incentives coming in Slovenia. And really, as I said in the introductory word, we want to spend this money in investments that bring sustainable development, creative and green jobs, and it's really necessary that we all support and do business in terms of digitalization and smart technologies. So I think, yeah, there's a lot to do, but it's quite a huge progress.
But a lot has been done.
Yeah.
Could you just, thank you for that, but could you mention one or two examples of foreign investments that have made headlines in our country recently?
I wouldn't like to be unfair to all the foreign investors that are coming in Slovenia. Actually, we had in those past few years quite a lot of good investments here in Slovenia. I won't be telling the exact name of the companies. Yes, but we are so happy that we managed to bring investors who see the Slovenia's potential in the long-term relationship, long-term development. So we are happy to have some investors really with the foreign capital which invest in R&D departments in Slovenia, and this is crucial for us. So quite a lot of investors, but we are happy to see many others.
Don't want to single out anyone.
No, I don't want to point it out.
Okay. Dr. Kostanjevs, can I just turn to you as well? Could you just tell us, Ms. Klančar touched upon that, but could you tell us a bit more about the main focus right now in terms of investments in Slovenia from the Spirit Slovenia point of view?
As we already heard from point of view from ministry, there will be a lot of new investment, not only from recovery and resilient fund, but also through the law for investment. We will change that law together with our ministry, and it will be more attractive than former one, because we see that firms and entrepreneurs which are coming from abroad, they have different expectations. And also nations over the globe, not only in Europe, they're trying to attract those entrepreneurs and then want to connect them. And as I already mentioned, that we have in this recovery fund around almost 90 millions, which will be set to all the new SMEs, firms that will invest in Slovenia, and this could be spread also for them, not only for local firms, but also for those firms that come from abroad.
What sort of companies, what sort of investors are you looking to support here?
As we have already heard before, it will be on the field of digitalization for sure, for green technology, for circular economy, for automotive, e-mobility. Those are all the fields that we are good in. We are traditionally already good connected from all globe, especially as from DACH region. And for those fields, we are set. We have all the infrastructure and everything done that they can come here and invest in Slovenia.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Stoyan, where do you perceive to be the biggest challenges, not in a negative way, but a challenge for foreign investors and companies in Slovenia?
The biggest challenge is to take advantage of all the opportunities. I know, but it's quite funny to see that a couple of investors choose to take a longer path, even though it's completely safe and legal to cut the journey. So I'd say the main source of risk is operational in nature. It's simply not being focused on the process enough and not taking advantage of all the opportunities that arise, either in terms of financing or in terms of cutting red tape or in terms of finding new partners. It's simply the biggest risk is trying to do a standard journey and not taking advantage of the opportunities to have a bespoke one.
Mm-hmm. So taking advantage of flexibility, really.
Indeed. It's a point easy enough to make and see, but then again, it simply disappears in practice. It's that if you manage a process, you get a much higher return, and the process is much safer. And the risk is small, but if managed correctly, it's also a source of competitive advantage.
Okay, thank you. Can I Ms. Klancher, we talk about incentives, and there is obviously across Europe a lot of financial availability. There is, however, a natural resources issue, as we discussed prior to this conference. Could you just mention how is Slovenia, or what are you doing at the ministry? How are you addressing this?
Yeah, you raised a very important question. But first of all, I wanted to say that I fully agree with Mr. Stoyan, what he has said, that there's a paradigm happening right now. Because the whole Europe, within this mechanism of next generation, the European Commission has launched such huge financially programs. But there is a problem. Yeah, we have a lack of these crucial materials, raw materials, and it's quite an issue. How we will invest those funds that are coming to develop something that we don't even know what to do right now. Because we have this lack, and really it has to be, we have to do something. So in our point of view, what has to be done? It has to, so the companies maybe should think how to invest more in R&D capacities, R&D activities, maybe to seek for new materials which are maybe more locally located, to maybe be repositioned from the final product more to the service one. So I could say that maybe we should think about not just throwing everything that we have bought away, but try to fix, repair those things. Maybe this could be one of the good approaches to be used in the next years.
So possibly the ministry will also, and together with Spirit Slovenia as well, looking for investments that will devote some or majority of their funds to research and development in order to overcome this challenge.
Yeah, certainly we will, together with public agency Spirit and also as Slovenian Enterprise Fund, we will allocate a lot of money in those issues. I think Mr. Kostanjevec wanted to
yes,
say
it
something.
is. One part of this is also to recycle all the materials. To set those circles in that way, that in that manner, that we will at the start of the project that we will need that we will already know what will be the end products and how can be they recycled into a new process. So we are also thinking about that, and all of that in circular economy will be set to the higher level.
Excuse me, can I say just a little thing? We actually are investing a lot of money in this kind of reform that we have in our RRP program, which will be launched by the Spirit. Actually, it's not only a problem to maybe support the companies with direct investments, but also we as a country, as the whole ecosystem, must let's say, have some new knowledge that we don't even have right now. And it's crucial for the next few years, yes.
Seeking new knowledge. Would you like to comment on this, Dr. Stein, or are you?
I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
We're in a transformative phase. Not only Slovenia, but I'd like to point out that fortunately we're in a solid position, and fortunately we're able to share these opportunities and this good starting point we have as a country with foreign investors.
Okay, I'm gonna, Dr. Kostanjevec, I know you have to dash off in about 10 minutes, so can I put in as many questions as I can to you before we lose you?
That's why I'm here.
Could you tell us, focus, as you said, focus is on green, on sustainability, on innovative products, but, can you single out, like, the biggest potential in Slovenia for investors right now?
Yes, for sure. As we have already mentioned, but for sure it's their sustainability, e-mobility, green technologies, aerospace technologies. We already all presented in Dubai, in Expo, where we have our own pavilion, and we see that we are on the top niche of all the producers around the globe, also on smart cities, industry 4.0, artificial intelligence. In next month, we will establish new center for this field. Production for automotive industry. These are all the niche that we are traditionally good in.
So there is quite a few diverse opportunities still. Well, can I ask all of you now, where is it's kind of a repetition of that question, but the untapped potential that, somebody who is thinking about investing, and Slovenia is maybe not on his map, but something that they would be not surprised, but learn about Slovenia. What are the basics? So I just cut it short. The untapped potential and opportunity to cooperate with foreign investors. Sorry, I went rumbling there. Dr. Stoyan, can I start with you?
Sorry. Sure. I think the greatest opportunities or the greatest benefits Slovenia can bring to the table is starting with the educated workforce, and also Slovenia has a very good location in terms of benefits for managing logistics, and also we have a lot of natural resources from woods to put it this way, if an investor is serious about making the next step towards a sustainable future and a sustainable business model, Slovenia might be the best location for it.
Did you hear that?
Great.
Ms. Planter, what would you say is the potential and the opportunities? So that we don't, something to add to, we've said quite a bit, but...
Yes, thank you. I think we have to work on the whole environment ecosystem, so to consolidate it in a way that maybe many activities that are happening in the field right now through Spirit and other ministries and other stakeholders, let's say, to be more focused and sure that when one investor comes to Slovenia to talk to the Spirit, that really gets the whole information about investing here in Slovenia. What are the benefits? Where is the possible location, micro-location to start the investment? I would really like to say again that there is an opportunity to invest also in other parts of Slovenia, not only in central Slovenia, and maybe as a sector. What could I say about a certain sector? Tourism is one of the maybe parts of the Slovenian economy which has really great potential. We are really a sustainable country. We actually received many awards in terms of this sustainability, but there is a potential to grow in terms of investments who create, let's say, nightstands facilities with really high added value. I think that I could point this one out to be a great maybe investment opportunity in Slovenia.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting. Dr. Kostanjevic, what would you say from your perspective?
As my colleague already said, that there is location, then it's resources, incentives, also tourism for sure. But we have one big advantage from on the field of innovativeness. Probably, as you know, we are one of the most innovative countries in the world, and we are trying to be even better. We got, I don't know, from European Union additional project to establish this ecosystem. It will be connected with all the players in this ecosystem. They will be connected digitally. I don't know. We are talking about universities and connected with economy. We will support innovative startups, scale-ups firms in the one single system. And we will be in next decade, that's our plan, in top 10 most innovative lands in the world. So I think that if somebody see this potential, that we are in the heart of Europe, connected with almost our market can be around 500 millions all over the Europe, and this is a great opportunity. So please, investors, do not hesitate to contact us.
So a lot of focus on digitalization. Yes, Ms. Planter,
can I add something,
yes, please,
if you allow me? As Mr. Kostanjevic said, we actually really have good SMEs which have a lot of knowledge, innovative potential. So in terms of maybe in the point of view of the possible foreign investors, there could be a huge impact of investing in those capacities, because our SMEs sometimes need just a push in the capital, so a capital push to be growing, and this is one thing that big companies and also SMEs from the foreign countries could really took advantages, benefits, and the synergies, and this is a huge possibility here.
Okay, Dr. Stoyan, yes?
Yes, actually, I completely agree with what my colleagues just explained, but I'd just like to mention a little-known fact Harvard University has this observatory which is tracking economic complexity, which means how able or capable is a given country to produce various different things. And it's a fact, Slovenia is one of the most complex economies in the whole world, which is quite unlikely considering we're a small nation of 2 million people. But you can find everything from neurosurgery to robotics, to artificial intelligence, to biotechnology. Basically, there were not many people are aware that even, for instance, at the beginning of the COVID crisis, there was a Slovenian homegrown candidate vaccine. So really, we have an incredibly complex economy that's able to do basically everything at the best quality level. And it's simply not known enough. We're complex.
So that's a good thing.
It is.
Complex is a good thing.
It is.
Okay. I see that, Dr. Kostanjes, we are running out of time with you.
Sorry.
Is there anything else you would like to add before you leave, or you will really have to dash off, because I see that the time is...
For investor, we are here for you. One-stop shop, free of charge. Spirit is waiting, and also Slovenian economy is ready for your investment. So
Thank you so much.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much
you.
for coming. We will continue. We are almost close to the end anyway. I'd like to just ask you, and can I start with you, Ms. Klančar? There is, actually, I have a question for you, if you don't mind, because you talk about there is a lot of investments in central Slovenia, and you are focusing on expanding that to to other regions as well. Could you tell me, I know I've read about it as well, there are actually special incentives for companies that decide to invest elsewhere, outside of central Slovenia. Could you just elaborate on that and give us a bit more details? Not in terms of, it's not just about finance, it's also other incentives that are in there. So please.
Thank you. We actually have some legal acts that are focused on that issue, on that topic. So we really support these rural areas to be developed, to be growing. There is a huge amount of money also in the RRP program, and also in the terms of cohesion policy. So we try to allocate amounts of money in those areas. And what kind of support do we give to foreign and also domestic investors? We support technology. We support maybe co-finance wages of employees. So we would like to see more jobs, more high value-added jobs, and we certainly do allocate lots of money here. We had, in the past few years, we have also this maybe problem areas where maybe degrees of unemployment rates were too high. But now we have improved this situation, and we just allocate some special incentives to those areas. Really an important question.
Okay.
Yeah, and also in terms of infrastructure, I could not say that maybe those regional areas are that they
don't lack it.
Yeah.
Have actually very well developed infrastructure.
Yeah. Maybe the foreign investors just have to be informed that there is a possibility, also that our state supports this, and maybe you will get more support if you invest in those areas. But it's practically the same. We are at the center of Europe. We are a small country, and actually, we cannot say that we can just do business in the center of our Slovenia.
And actually, outside of the center of Slovenia, it's only about half an hour.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Would you like to add anything to this, or because it was actually very focused? No. Okay. We will, the rest of the panel discussions that we have today will touch upon this as well. It's innovativeness, it's workforce. But can I ask you as well, as we have talked a lot about financial aspects, but what are the other ways to promote cooperation with foreign investors that are really important and that you are working on? And can I actually start with you, Dr. Stern? Where do you see that?
Again, Slovenia, even though it's a small country, we're not really trying to present ourselves as a market in ourselves. We're more keen to present ourselves as a center to reach a giant market, the European market. And also, we're a member of the Eurozone, which means there are no separate monetary risks, real exchange risks, etc. We're really integrated in the core of the European Union, which just slashes the different complications and risks. We're a really safe country, including monetary-wise.
Okay. Ms. Kanchar, how would you like to respond to that? Because there are quite a few other aspects to Slovenia than financial incentive. And there is location, of course. Yeah. There is a connection to Europe. But there is a workforce, there is long industrial tradition.
Yes, the location, the knowledge, our knowledge, the possibility to address practically every sector that foreign investors try to invest in. It's quite an complex economic situation here with us, but we are prepared and we wait for possible investors to come to talk with us and to explore what we can give to them.
Okay. I'm just going to check. We don't have any questions from in the chat box. Thank you so much to our panelists today. I would like to conclude the first discussion now. And thank you for shedding some light on how to invest, where to invest, and what the priorities are in Slovenia. For any questions on investments, please contact Spirit Slovenia. As Dr. Kostanjeva said, it's free of charge and they are really there to help. We'll take a 5-minute short break and then we'll see you shortly for the next discussion. Thank you.
My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. I had to come back. Now that I've been here a few times, I know this much. It might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know it's green. And not only because forests cover more than half its land, but because everyone is working to protect the environment. From innovative pioneers in light aviation to greenhouses heated with geothermal water, while smart sensors control its production. And creators of self-sustainable zero-emission houses that are in complete sync with nature. Now I also know that it's creative. Not just because of its unique achievements in sustainable construction engineering, but also because it manufactures sports equipment for champions the world over. But Slovenia isn't just green or just creative. It's a fun-loving and free country where groundbreaking ideas come to life. And it's smart. Because Slovenia's know-how is used for automotive testing. And every single car in the world has at least one component made in Slovenia. And because it's one of the leading manufacturers of generic pharmaceuticals. Of course, Slovenia is already famous for its hospitality and locally grown food. And its engineers never stop working on cutting-edge automation. while its companies constantly push the barriers in technological innovation. And all because of its brilliant people, educated and reliable, multilingual and talented, who can improve the quality of your life or even help you reach the stars. Now I've been here, I know that Slovenia is a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take? Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it. My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. I had to come back. Now that I've been here a few times, I know this much. It might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know it's green. And not only because forests cover more than half its land, but because everyone is working to protect the environment. From innovative pioneers in light aviation to greenhouses heated with geothermal water, while smart sensors control its production. And creators of self-sustainable zero-emission houses that are in complete sync with nature. Now I also know that it's creative. Not just because of its unique achievements in sustainable construction engineering, but also because it manufactures sports equipment for champions the world over. But Slovenia isn't just green or just creative. It's a fun-loving and free country where groundbreaking ideas come to life. And it's smart. Because Slovenia's know-how is used for automotive testing. And every single car in the world has at least one component made in Slovenia. And because it's one of the leading manufacturers of generic pharmaceuticals. Of course, Slovenia is already famous for its hospitality and locally grown food. And its engineers never stop working on cutting-edge automation. While its companies constantly push the barriers in technological innovation. And all because of its brilliant people, educated and reliable, multilingual and talented, who can improve the quality of your life or even help you reach the stars. Now I've been here, I know that Slovenia is a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take? Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it. My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. I had to come back. Now that I've been here a few times, I know this much. It might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know it's green. And not only because forests cover more than half its land, but because everyone is working to protect the environment. From innovative pioneers in light aviation to greenhouses heated with geothermal water, while smart sensors control its production. And creators of self-sustainable zero-emission houses that are in complete sync with nature. Now I also know that it's creative. Not just because of its unique achievements in sustainable construction engineering, but also because it manufactures sports equipment for champions the world over. But Slovenia isn't just green or just creative. It's a fun-loving and free country where groundbreaking ideas come to life. And it's smart. Because Slovenia's know-how is used for automotive testing. And every single car in the world has at least one component made in Slovenia. And because it's one of the leading manufacturers of generic pharmaceuticals. Of course, Slovenia is already famous for its hospitality and locally grown food. And its engineers never stop working on cutting-edge automation. While its companies constantly push the barriers in technological innovation. And all because of its brilliant people, educated and reliable, multilingual and talented, who can improve the quality of your life or even help you reach the stars. Now I've been here, I know that Slovenia is a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take? Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it.
Hi, welcome back to our second panel, where we will look at Slovenia's innovative environment and solutions. However, can I just go back to the previous panel? We did get one question actually that came in quite late, and I would just like to respond to that if I may. The question was, would like to ask you whether Slovenia is also open to strategic partnership with other European companies in order to expand on foreign markets, for example, in the sector of renewable energy. I'm not going to say yes, but I will say that you should definitely contact Spirit Slovenia. They have a huge base of Slovenian companies that they can put you in touch with, and yes, I'm sure there is an interest. So please just get in touch with Spirit Slovenia, and I will just say it again, it's free of charge, and they will advise you and put you in touch with the relevant people. Now, let's move to our second panel. Could I just first introduce our guests for today, Mr. Marko Sjepić. He is the Managing Director of Kočevje Business Incubator.
Hello.
Mr. Miha Rajh, CEO of Farsol. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Right. It's a company that provides innovative solutions for biotech, pharmaceutical, and other companies in the life science sector. Yep. Dr. Simon Kulovec, Director of R&D at Podkrižnik company that develops intelligent systems. Yes?
Yes.
And Ms. Anna Anže, she's Director of Sasha Incubator that supports startups. Thank you to all and welcome. We will first look at video presentations as we did in the previous panel. So could we please start with Mr. Kulovec's video presentation right now? Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, today I would like to briefly present you our company and highlight the main strategic directions that we have been developing through the last years. First, I would like to present Podkrižnik Group, who we are and where we work. Then we will take a look at our breakthrough electric mobility program, which is divided between the nautic sector and the electric bikes. We believe it's essential that the strategy and requirements for green products like recyclability and carbon-free are necessary. Above all, newly developed product must follow these guidelines and protect nature and the environment for the future generation. Finally, we will also present our contribution to factories of the future, where we have designed intelligent gear systems for use in robotics and automation. Podkrižnik Group was established in 1987. After more than 3 decades of successful business, it now consists of the 3 companies, Podkrižnik, Idin, and Ora Drive. The first 2 were established in Slovenia, and Ora Drive is based in Germany. The Podkrižnik Group employs more than 300 people. We offer solutions in drive technology, gearboxes, hydraulic modules, electric propulsion systems, and high-precision metal and plastic semi-products. Our basic philosophy is simplicity, quality and collaboration with our customers through the whole life cycle. Our vision is to become one of the leading companies in electric propulsion systems and intelligent drive technologies. Now, let us look at our electric mobility program. In the current slide, we see an example of a boat equipped with our modular EDIN system. The EDIN electric system is a complete boat solution for lakes, rivers, and sea. The propulsion systems are made from high-quality materials. It's modular, flexible, and very efficient. Our system is allowing a more excellent range compared to our competitors. The modular system is designed to be installed on almost any boat, which is another significant advantage. Also, due to our flexibility, we can influence the boat's weight distribution, resulting in improved driving performance and lower energy consumption. That's always welcome in electrical products. This year, we cooperate on the electric regatta in Venice. This is a competition for electric boats. EDIN was the absolute winner in a 3-day regatta on the speed and endurance race. This year, we also won the Gold Award for innovations of the Chamber of Commerce in smart electric mobility in Nautic. Besides the efficiency, the electric propulsion system also requires an accessible and standard intelligent charging station. Because that was missing in the field of Nautic, EDIN cooperated with a company in Venice to develop and present the first intelligent charging station based on automotive standards. This system represents a significant step forward in developing electric mobility on the water at the global level. If we want to become recognizable in sports, you have to climb to the very top. This was our main guideline in developing the central drive for the electric bikes, which is the result of cooperation between the company Podkrižnik and partners. The results of our combined efforts is one of the most powerful central drives for electric bikes. This electric drive is excellent because of efficient gear transmission with motor and responsive sensors. But the most important thing for us is excellent user feedback. Several test results in professional journals confirm excellence in our innovation in comparison to other electric drives. The product was also presented at the Eurobike Fair, which is the biggest in Europe. The following crucial strategic area in company Podkrižnik is Industry 4.0, where we have been investing and researching heavily in intelligent precision high gear ratio systems. We have developed several innovations and a patent application for that system. In our drives are integrated several sensors, for example, torque, temperature, and position sensors. Such drives are intended for core robots, but they also can be used for other applications like automation, monitoring systems, positioning applications, deep space antennas, weapon systems, and many others. As this concludes my brief presentation. Here you can see our contact information. If you have additional questions or proposals, please do not hesitate to contact me. We are always open to discussions and new suggestions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Kulovec. Mr. Stjepic, could we look at your presentation now? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marko Stjepic from Kočevje Business Incubator, and I will just briefly explain why is an incubator as an important part of business ecosystem, important for an investor. This is our new building from this year. That during the Corona crisis, we built completely dedicated building to an incubator where we can now even more connect new businesses with old businesses, so to speak. So with larger companies, we support the growth of startup companies and individuals with business ideas. Here we have also a fabrication center, so-called Fab Lab. We mainly work with wood and how we can also add good design to the wood. And we also are doing a lot of education. We are educating, of course, businesses, helping people with existing businesses grow their skills, grow their knowledge. But we also train young entrepreneurs, and we go also a bit further as we are training also young people in our local community and also a bit wider. And one of the most important things of the incubator is that we believe that something better can be achieved and that we can make the whole local community a better place to live. And this is what we are also trying to put into the minds of our of our youth. So we are preparing them with the skills of tomorrow. We are, let's say, a hub for robotics training. A little bit further down the line, you will learn why this happened a few years ago. But we also went a step further, and we are now having here a training center for primary school teachers. So we introduce robotics to the first 3 grades on a national level. And we, of course, we are doing a lot of activities, which includes building entrepreneurial spirits, hackathons. So doing a lot with young people and teaching them about multimedia, robotics, programming, and other, let's say, high-tech knowledge. As I mentioned, we are focusing a lot of robotics and about teaching children in an early stage about the basics of robotics. So in Kočevje, this is a municipality of about 16,000 inhabitants. We have 3 primary schools, and in each primary school, every child gets trained in the basics of robotics. So we are not doing this as an extracurricular activity, but part of the school activity, which is very important. Also, in terms what will come, and also from the point of an investor, that he knows that he will have people who are skilled and capable of learning new technologies. And of course, our flexible education systems up to the secondary school supports local companies. So we also are adapting to the needs of the local companies. Here is the company Yaskawa. It's the Japanese manufacturer of industrial robots. They're the biggest in the world. And in Kočevje, they settled here to build a first factory outside Asia for building robots. And this is, let's say, they build it for numerous reasons, but we don't have really some history of robotics, but we know on a micro level how to connect with a company, how to connect with potential investor. And of course, municipality owns land, so it's much easier for someone to speak about potential investment. But even more, we are also helping investor on all levels. Basically, we are championing his investment, his business idea, and we are working together with him to go through all this bureaucracy, through all the red tape. And this is, so the experience is, I can say, very good, and things happen very quickly. And from these days, it's very important to have also predictable energy costs. And 95%, almost 95% of our municipality is covered with forests. And municipality of Kočevje is the 3rd biggest individual owner of forests. So this is also a good combination for an energy source that is reliable. Here we are not just an incubator, but also like a local FDI agency. And we are helping investors finding basically with everything they need, first listening, and then helping so they understand, they speak the language of the red tape, or even more, we are doing it for them. One more important thing is also that we are helping also to find the right people in the region to work with them. just about some facts, this is mainly what you will see in Kočevje. Lots of nature, lots of ancient forests, but also traditionally it was always technologically advanced region with rich history. And in these times, the green is the color that is, let's say, most sought for. So why Slovenia, why Kočevje? We are underdeveloped region, so also special incentives apply for this part of Slovenia. We know that it's important that we deliver to someone that we really create a business partnership, and this is also then long-term investment that we are seeking for. So we deliver what we promise, and of course we invest a lot into people, and also not just invest into people, we also working hard to connect companies with people and develop the skills that people need. So this is just a short story about Kočevje, and also why a company such as Yaskava, which is a big multinational company, decided for a small town here in a small country of Slovenia to fund its establishment for the whole EMEA region. So thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions or comments.
Thank you, Mr. Stjepić. Mr. Andrzej, your presentation is next.
Hello, and thank you for your invitation. Today I will talk about the people, because in the end, it's all about people, and in the end, it's all about you. These are the people who built our city, Velenje, like 60 years ago. And their wife started to work in a big industrial corporation called Gorenje. Today, Velenje is a really bright city, but we are not actually like a Silicon Valley, but we are on a good way to there. Because a few years ago, we didn't have a lot of startups. We decided to raise them. That's why we successfully developed 5 main programs, in which the first of all is changing mindset. We are working with young people with the main goal for them to start think outside of the box. The second and logical step is to give these people the proper knowledge. That's why we developed our second program called Business Trampoline, in which we gave them the opportunity to raise their ideas to the next level and that they are ready to go to the market. The third pylon of our programs is acceleration. That's why in Sasha Incubator, we develop a program called Startup Generator. The big upgrade from the Business Trampoline is that we gave them additional knowledge, and at the end, they are getting also the investment from our municipality. So this is their boost to the sky. And now that we have startups who have the proper mindset, who have a proper knowledge, and we gave them this acceleration, it's time to think about the investment. And that's why, together with Business Angels of Slovenia and Technology Park of Primorska and Kickstarter, we developed international program called Investment Academy. The main goal of this program is to connect startups, potential investors, and also experienced investors. By that we are giving them the proper knowledge how to think like an investor, where and how to gain the proper investment, and also for the potential investors, we give them the whole knowledge investment from A to Z, and in the end, for experienced investors, we give them knowledge about exits and valuation of the company. The last but not least is our program called Future 4.0. This is the program where we are connecting the best European startups with industrial corporations, so that this is the opportunity for them to connect in the field of open innovation, and they are starting to develop their partnership in the field of Industry 4.0. So the first event was in 2018 in the Industrial Hall of Gorenje, but last year we have to do it online. So we made a really special virtual experience of the event where corporations and startups are getting this chance to meet and get good corporations. So in 2021, it was a huge success with this virtual event where we had more than 500 attendees, 111 startups coming from 13 countries. What about now? It's not just about the numbers. So we are now at the point where we are challenging the big changes of the century. So our program is called Future X, Future Experience, and it will be held at 7th and 8th of December here in Velenje. The first day we are talking about the Future Experience online conference for startups, entrepreneurs, and corporations. So we are giving them the opportunity to find out what the future will actually bring in the field of Industry 4.0. At the 8th of December, we are preparing this underground experience for corporations. And this event will be held 160 meters underground in the Coal Mine Museum of Velenje, where the whole story actually started. And the big news for this year is definitely the platform called Future X, where we are giving the opportunity startups and corporations to meet here and to create even better and successful stories in the field of the industry. We are positive that the future will be bright, so meet us in the future.
Thank you, Ms. Sanjay. That was really informative. Mr. Reich, could we close the presentations with your one, please? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Micha Reich from company Farsol. Today, I'm going to present you our company. The company Farsol consists of 4 different brands. The first one is Farsol, which stands for Pharmaceutical Solutions. And here is our goal to bring innovative products to problems facing the bioprocessing industry. Our firstly developed product, mentioned here, is the cryoholder. This is a product for which we received also the award for the best innovation in 2020. The third brand is Farsol Protect, which focuses on protective equipment and workwear. And the last brand that I'm going to present to you today, and it's also the most important one, is the Lab Label. The Lab Label stands for Innovative Lab Coats, which focuses also on sustainability. Imagine that you are a laboratory technician who has to work plain, white, monotone, and uncomfortable lab coat every single day. Currently, in the European Union, there is more than 660 research facilities, more than 7,800 biotech companies, more than 2,200 medtech companies, and around 800 pharma companies. And every single company has at least one laboratory full of scientists. So, but these coats that people are currently wearing comes with many problems. First one is that the material isn't durable nor eco-friendly. They have poor hydrophobic qualities and can be easily damaged. They are all plain, white, and boring. So this means that everyone looks exactly the same. To battle those shortcomings, we've come up with a solution. It is the Lab Label Lab Coat. It is made out of sustainably sourced material called Tecawork EcoGreen. It has better hydrophobic and oleophobic qualities, and it cannot be damaged easily. We also implemented snap buttons so that the product of the lab coat can be easily put on and off in the case of a day job. To top it all off, we added unique motifs taken from the world of life science so that now everyone can be unique and stand out from the crowd of boring scientists. Our customer here is everyone actually who works in a lab. This means either it's student, laboratory technician, or researcher. As mentioned before, the market size in Slovenia is pretty big. We identified 66 faculties and academies and 16 public research facilities, But more importantly, the European market consists of 660 research facilities, which is approximately 40,000 laboratories full of scientists. And to top it all off, more than 11,000 life science companies. The third market we wanted to engage in the long run is absolutely United States and Canada, which has more than 3,000 life science companies alone. Today, the Lab Label brand is 1 year old. Till today, we sold more than 1,600 lab coats. And we have currently developed 10 designs taken from the world of life science. As we generated a lot of the sales, we also get a lot of feedback from the clients. This means that our plan is to develop the lab coat even more. So we will develop special lab coats which is appropriate for different kind of laboratory workers. And in the next 12 months, we also wanted to implement new designs taken from the world of life science and abroad. And we wanted to present this brand also in one larger fair in Europe in 2022. The Lab Label is currently operated by the team of 6 people, which has experience either from startups, student organizations, or simply the lab work. And currently, what we are mostly looking for is for some partner who would like to create a standalone spin-out with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for your presentations, and welcome once again to the studio. Mr. Stjepic, could I start with you? You mentioned that Kočevje invests a lot in education of the young to prepare them with the skills for the future. Could you tell me when was this started and why? What was the reasoning behind it?
Well, the reason is basically obvious. In a small local community, there's a tendency that young people are going to the big regional centers or to the capital, where they study and often they stay there. So by preparing them with new skills, also new technologies they cannot find easily in the big cities, so they learn new things. So with this, we establish a base that young people come back, and of course we make the potential for the companies that they really get skilled people, and we also establish an opportunity for companies from that we don't have technologies, or let's say not existing companies with such technologies, but to attract new companies that will find suitable people here.
You mentioned that robotics is taught as part of the curriculum. Sorry, I can't say the word. Curriculum. Still haven't said it. Sorry, but you know what I mean. For the first 3 years, yes. And you mentioned also that you are introducing it to the national program. Is that?
Yes, we started locally with this is Kuba Robotics, that it easily can be introduced, that teacher can use it as part of the curriculum. So basically we are teaching the teachers how to use it, and systematically we are implementing it in the local schools, but also we are doing in the 4th and 5th grade, so 9 and 10-year-olds with other let's say toys, robotic toys, which they basically learn the basics of robotics. So we have 5 grades where children are systematically put in the process of learning about robotics.
Obviously, I have to mention Yaskava before I move on to everyone else. It is one of the biggest investments in Slovenia, and the impact it has had on the whole country has been quite big. But what about Kočevje? What sort of impact has it had on the community? Presumably education is part of it as well.
Education, but also it has investment-wise very, very great impact, because people started to believe, also entrepreneurs that were before, should we invest here or should we move somewhere else? And a lot of investment also happened afterwards, after the Yaskava decided and invested. So they feel that this is somewhere to be a part of.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Kulvec, you also invest a lot of time in, and resources in exploring new innovative solutions. Could you tell me how do you go about it? How do you cooperate with Slovenian academia? Do you cooperate with foreign companies, other companies? How do you go about it?
Thank you for the question. Yes, of course. We think that the cooperation with academia, with faculties and institutes is very important because we want to do at the end of the day, the best products, and these products must to have the best people, the best engineers, and the best knowledge for that. So we cooperate with a lot of faculties in Slovenia. I can just maybe mention a few of them. Faculty of Mechanical Engineering in Maribor, Ljubljana, Novo Mesto, then Institute Jožef Stefan in Slovenia, then, for example, Faculty of Polymers in Slovenj Gradec. So we are very active on this field. And on other way, we also cooperate with a lot of Slovenian companies because we know that this connecting between us is very important because each company has some special knowledge about some things, especially in these areas of electrical mobility, robotics, and so on. So this is also necessary.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Sanjay, you work with startups and businesses in your local area and presumably beyond as well now. You mentioned quite a few programs in your presentation, but could you tell us a little bit more? How do you actually connect with other institutions, and how do you connect the companies to partner up in the future?
Thank you for the question. Like I already mentioned, we are located in Velenje. Actually, there is really a lot of industry going on in our area and also further in our whole region. That's why when we started to work like an incubator 6 years ago, we were at the point where we had to slow down and said, okay, what do we already have? What are the needs? Do some analysis so that we can prepare the real program. And by asking our corporations, the big companies who already had their positions inside our valley, we got the feedback that they would really like to connect with startups. And that's how everything started. And when we checked this information also further to the national level and also abroad, we saw this opportunity to give the corporations and startup this platform, this mutual space where they can meet, find their new opportunities, and actually collaborate in the field of the open innovation. Why industry? Industry is actually in our blood. That's how our city was built. And I think that in this development of new technologies and by connecting these important worlds, there is the bright future.
Thank you. Mr. Reich, your company is a startup. It operates in the pharmaceutical market, as we saw. At what stage does a startup decide to look for a partner?
Yeah, thank you for the question. We started in 2016 when I left Novartis, and for us it was pretty hard at the beginning because no European company wanted to partner with us, either as a distributor or either as someone who can open up a new market. But soon we realized that we can connect with some companies from the US, and this is how it worked for us every day until now. So it's pretty crucial to have a partner. Either this is a distributor. We've seen it also nowadays during the COVID-19. It's crucial to have a reliable partner. We grab actually every opportunity that is possible to have a new distributor in place, to have a new reliable person that can connect us on the market. But from the point of investor or someone who can join also to the company, it is more crucial to have it at the beginning when you don't have so much money available, and so someone that can actually assure you that you have enough cash flow or enough cash that you can actually develop a product and then start it up.
And so what sort of partner is ideal for your company?
At the moment, for the brand of Label, it would be an ideal partner, some investor who has also tight connections to the life science industry, who can connect us to the special markets, for example, European market, especially Scandinavian, and also the US and Canada market, so that has the connections to the companies that can open up the doors that we currently cannot open, and can also bring the cash into the company so that we can grow even faster.
So the focus is Europe, Scandinavia.
Europe, Scandinavia, and then the next year or in 2022, so 23, the US and Canada.
So if anybody's interested, please contact Mr. Reich. Can I just go back to you, Ms. Andrzej? Just wanted to go back to the programs that you provided, the platform that you provide to connect startups with angel investors or angel companies, whatever what they were called in the video, in the presentation. Is it just events, or is that an ongoing help?
Actually, it all started like an online conference.
Okay.
Like in 2018, we managed to do this live event, international conference, where we invited different keynote speakers revealing the future of the industry, and also managed to have actual attendees, like we can afford it now. But during those years, we came to the stage where we decided that Future 4.0 isn't just a one-time event, but there was an actual need that we do this like the whole program, which lasts the whole year. And that's why this year the new thing is that we developed this Future X platform, where we actually connect these two worlds, like corporations and startups, in the field of Industry 4.0. And we will update the whole database of the startups during whole year. And so we are giving this playground for the corporations and startups to start working together. Because at the beginning, a man could see that these are two worlds that don't belong together. And we are encouraging them to get married. But the reality is not like that. It's okay if one corporation and startup decided just to have open relationship and still seeing other people, other corporations, other startups. And because at the end, if they get married and they don't do the process well, they will get divorced and bad things will happen.
Just like in life.
Definitely. And that's why this is the whole point of the program, that we prepare both sides, that they are actually prepared for the collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a really good analogy as well. Mr. Stjepic, in the previous panel, we talked a lot about incentives for foreign investors across Slovenia. But let's focus on Kočevje now. What's happening there in terms of incentives? And presumably there will be financial, but can we look at it in a broader way as well?
Yeah, of course. Financial incentives are basically a thing of national. Also Spirit Slovenia, but are different from region to region. So depending how developed the region is, this is also the if region is underdeveloped, you get a bigger incentive, of course, if you go there as an investor. This is also a case in Yaskava. They were deciding between two locations, 20 kilometers apart, which is nothing, and there was a 1.5 million difference for financial incentive. But more important is also, let's say in Slovenia, everywhere is an hour drive. So when the president of Yaskava flew in to Slovenia, he was like, why don't we have it next to the airport? Of course, this is the usual thing in big countries. Let's have it close to the logistical center. But in Slovenia, everything's pretty much close. So this is a very important aspect for every investor who is coming here. That 1 hour and pretty good connections to the capital and also to the airports and other countries are of the essence here. So it doesn't. Location doesn't play such a big difference, but there's also about how you manage the red tape, how you get along all the processes, which is needed for some greenfield or brownfield investment. And here's where you need a good local partner to help you with, because you have to speak the language, not just Slovenian language, but also the red tape language.
Of course, of course. And how do you see the business environment in Kočevje evolving? And actually, there are like 3 in one question. Also, where is your focus now? What sort of investors are you looking to attract? What is your cooperation with current investors, and what is your strategy overall? So it's actually 4 questions. Sorry.
Yeah, I would just try to summarize it. Well, we cannot be picky because we have some really large companies that, for the local perspective, because you always are limited to the number of people you have. But of course, we are attracting new people to move. But wood industry, as mentioned, is very important because Kočevje is the biggest municipality by area, but is more than 90% covered with woodlands. So there's a big opportunity basically to add value, not just to go to the log or to the board, but also wood is the material of the 21st century. So the added value that can be added is very significant. But of course, we need new investment, and they are already happening. But this is a long-term process, as always, because today you wait for a year or year and a half to get the equipment you ordered, with logistics that is happening all around the world. But still, this is a big opportunity. Also the chemistry, robotics, of course, around the Escava, they are building also R&D center, the academy for training of robotics. So this is something that will develop in the future, and of course, there are many possibilities along with this.
Okay. Dr. Kulec, what do you think are the big strengths of Slovenian investment environment?
About investment environment?
Yes. What are the biggest strengths and biggest advantage? What is the great potential?
In Slovenia?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. In Slovenia is the big advantage, very big advantage. We believe that this is knowledge, because we have very good engineers, and we have a lot of knowledge, and also we are very small, so we could manage different projects and see each other and talk about that, and also like I said before, this small area, because everything is nearby something. If we look some areas or distances abroad, we see that there is quick to 1,000, 1,500 kilometers, but by us is everything about 300 kilometers. So this is the big advantage.
So unlike in other bigger countries, where location can play a big part, in Slovenia it actually doesn't, because everything is within its vicinity. Okay, Mr. Reich, you mentioned how you plan to expand. Could you tell me what drives your vision?
Yeah, what drives us is actually the sales, or let's say to see the end customer is happy. The money comes afterwards. To see the client that purchases an innovative product from us, from some young startup company in field of biotech, let's say medtech, and that it wears it and that it fits them perfectly, they're happy in the laboratory, that is what drives us absolutely.
So presumably that was the feedback that you have been getting from your current customers.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Anjay, you talked about marriage. Could you give me an example or two of a successful marriage or successful projects with a great potential as well?
Actually, the whole future is a big success. Regarding these special cases, regarding their marriages, there were like 10 special deals that the corporation actually invested in the startups. But in general, we can speak about dating and this open relationship, because the corporation is giving them the space, the main network. They're giving them their access to their customers, and the startups is giving them their product, their creative mindset, and their speed and their power. And I think that we are still at the beginning. But with this platform and our event, which will be held online at 7th of December this year, we are on a good way to more successful partnerships in that direction.
And you talk about partnerships, presumably it's also foreign as well as local corporations.
Yes, yes.
And do you have a lot of interest from foreign corporations?
Actually, the first year we were focusing just on Slovenia, and we were looking for startups in the whole Adriatic region. But this year we are also having a lot of interest from Austrian and Bosnian and Croatian partners. So I think that we are moving to the right direction, and that this year's conference and the whole platform will be a big success.
What kind of investor would you like to invite to your environment?
About the environment, our local environment, we are looking for investors who invest in people. Because the money is important, and also, like my colleague already said, we have a lot of knowledge, but it's all about the people. And we are looking for an investor who is ready to invest in our people, our knowledge, in new technologies in the field of green tech, new solutions, and who believe in our value, who believes in our country.
Okay. I have a question for all of you now. What do you think, if you think the government could do more, or the local communities, local authorities could do more to attract more investors? Could I start with you, Dr. Kulovec? Or what do you think they're doing okay?
Must be, I don't know, more presentations and some more, I don't know, some more presentations like this, because I think that not that the government is not working anything, but we must to go, we must to cooperate in that, and with that we can, at the end of the day, make some improvement or make advantage of these communications and presentations.
Thank you. I'm going to just stop there because we have a question from the audience as well. The question is, what would be needed to be able to come up with more innovative solutions of global importance faster? Who would like to take this up? Ms. Andrzej or Mr. Stjepic?
Well, it's always case by case. It's not something that is general. But yeah, we are improving the startup and scale-up environment with all the support. Of course, as Mr. Reich will put it, some extra money wouldn't hurt to boost up the activities, and so we can build on the people, on the team, and really go out faster. But yeah, it's all about having the right thing in place at the right time. It's always case by case.
Of course. Dr. Kulovec, would you like
to I think if I understand right the question, we must to make more connections between companies and knowledge in Slovenian and European area, or in the whole world, because this is the most important step which we must to do. We are working on that, but it's not well enough.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for your answer. I hope that answers your question. Mr. Reich, could you tell me if there is anything that the government and the local communities could do to attract more investors? Would you as a company have any suggestions?
Yeah, for sure. We've seen that this is developing field here in Slovenia, so that we are presenting the companies, the established companies, as well as the startups better now, but there is still a lot to do. So if we can present our startups, early stage startups, and also scale-ups to foreign investors, for example, to the Europe, to the Asian market, for example, or also to the US, I think it would be much easier to attract someone. And to also ease up a little bit on the legislation, how someone can invest in your company. For example, in the US, in California, this can be done in 1 hour, in one piece of paper. But here we know it takes much more work for someone to invest in the company.
Ms. Andrzej, would you like to add?
Yes, I think that we should all start to act like a startup. We have to move fast and we have to break things. And it's a lot of bureaucracy, and in the other hand, the whole tax policy. In this field, if we can do a really disruptive way to get out of this, so that the company and the investor who would like to invest in our companies, who would like to invest in Slovenia, will have open doors with short paths to get to their main goal, I think that that would be the real thing that can manage to get us at the right direction.
Cutting the red tape. Okay. And what would be your advice to investors who are thinking of, who are looking for an investment location right now, and might be thinking about Slovenia but haven't picked it yet? Could I start with Dr. Kulovec, please?
I don't hear the whole question because.
Okay.
Yeah,
what would be your advice to any potential investors who are looking for an investment location right now and might be thinking about Slovenia but haven't actually decided yet?
Yeah, I will be very short. They are welcome because we have a lot of innovative and breakthrough projects and of course ideas for the new one.
Okay. We have a question from the audience, but can I wrap up with this question from everyone? And Mr. Sjepic.
So someone who looks for a location at this moment, of course, now it's perhaps a bit harder to come directly when you want to, but it's definitely worth coming to Slovenia just really to get a feel of the distances, the people, and of course how to learn about how someone else made an investment. And this is, I think, the most important part, to really hear from a peer. So to hear from a company who recently done an investment and they know best why they're here.
Do you provide that?
Of course.
So they can actually hear from investors who are in Kuchevia about their experience of investing?
Yeah, we're not asking or paying them anything to praise or anything, but just go there, they hear the bad things, the good things, and I think they're there because the good things, of course, are much more there.
Of course, thank you. Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Ms. Sanjay, what would be your advice?
Yes, I completely agree with Marko, but I think that if they want to invest in Slovenia, they have to feel it first, because it's no coincidence that we have love in the middle, and every partner, every corporation and potential investor who comes to Slovenia is falling in love. And I think that the main point is they should invest in Slovenia because of the people, because of our culture, and because of our character. Because here is a lot of successful stories, a lot of innovative thinking, and Slovenia is definitely the right place to invest.
Okay, Mr. Reich?
What I would suggest is that firstly you come for a visit as a tourist for 1 week. You'll fall in love with Slovenia, and visit a conference or two. Where we will present you the startups, what we are doing, and then you'll see what the great ideas we have.
Okay, thank you for that. We do have time just for that one question from the audience. It's a few questions in one, but I'll read it all out and then we'll see who's going to answer that. How important actually is it to have patents? What do you think is better, having patents or innovating faster? How do you feel on the subject of open patents, and can this boost further innovation rate in general? Dr. Kulovec, would you like to take that up?
Patents, of course, innovations, patents, this is a very important topic. So I think that it's not just one-way solution. This is some hybrid model. The things which are really breakthrough, and we know that we cannot do in short time, we must do patent it. And some solutions and ideas which we know that we could afford to put it in, I don't know, production or something else, we must do it without a patent and secure this knowledge in the house.
Okay, Mr. Reif, would you come from startup and innovation? Would you like to add anything?
I absolutely agree with Mr. Kulovec, but on the other hand, as a startup, it's pretty hard to afford a patent. I mean, you can afford a patent application, but if you have no investor, you don't have money actually to file a patent claims. So it is a bit harder sometimes to file it. But yeah, I totally agree with what Mr. Kulovec said.
So
on the other
remain
hand.
open.
Yeah.
Ms. Sanjay, is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No, I completely agree with both of them. But in the form of our startups, I think that if they are fast enough, they will always be successful.
Okay. Okay, well, I'd like to thank you all for your time today and for the information that you shared with us. We will again take a very short break before we go to our final panel of the day, where we will look at Slovenia's workforce. Thank you so much.
My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. I had to come back. Now that I've been here a few times, I know this much. It might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know it's green. And not only because forests cover more than half its land, but because everyone is working to protect the environment. From innovative pioneers in light aviation to greenhouses heated with geothermal water, while smart sensors control its production. And creators of self-sustainable zero-emission houses that are in complete sync with nature. Now I also know that it's creative. Not just because of its unique achievements in sustainable construction engineering, but also because it manufactures sports equipment for champions the world over. But Slovenia isn't just green or just creative. It's a fun-loving and free country where groundbreaking ideas come to life. And it's smart. Because Slovenia's know-how is used for automotive testing, and every single car in the world has at least one component made in Slovenia. And because it's one of the leading manufacturers of generic pharmaceuticals. Of course, Slovenia is already famous for its hospitality and locally grown food. And its engineers never stop working on cutting-edge automation, while its companies constantly push the barriers in technological innovation. And all because of its brilliant people, educated and reliable, multilingual and talented, who can improve the quality of your life or even help you reach the stars. Now I've been here, I know that Slovenia is a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take? Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it. My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. I had to come back. Now that I've been here a few times, I know this much. It might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know it's green. And not only because forests cover more than half its land, but because everyone is working to protect the environment. From innovative pioneers in light aviation to greenhouses heated with geothermal water, while smart sensors control its production. And creators of self-sustainable zero-emission houses that are in complete sync with nature. Now I also know that it's creative. Not just because of its unique achievements in sustainable construction engineering, but also because it manufactures sports equipment for champions the world over. But Slovenia isn't just green or just creative. It's a fun-loving and free country where groundbreaking ideas come to life. And it's smart. Because Slovenia's know-how is used for automotive testing. And every single car in the world has at least one component made in Slovenia. And because it's one of the leading manufacturers of generic pharmaceuticals. Of course, Slovenia is already famous for its hospitality and locally grown food. And its engineers never stop working on cutting-edge automation. While its companies constantly push the barriers in technological innovation. And all because of its brilliant people, educated and reliable, multilingual and talented, who can improve the quality of your life or even help you reach the stars. Now I've been here, I know that Slovenia is a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take? Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it. My first experience of Slovenia was so much more than I expected. I had to come back. Now that I've been here a few times, I know this much. It might be small in size, but it's big in its achievements. Now I know it's green. And not only because forests cover more than half its land, but because everyone is working to protect the environment. From innovative pioneers in light aviation to greenhouses heated with geothermal water, while smart sensors control its production. And creators of self-sustainable zero-emission houses that are in complete sync with nature. Now I also know that it's creative. Not just because of its unique achievements in sustainable construction engineering, but also because it manufactures sports equipment for champions the world over. But Slovenia isn't just green or just creative. It's a fun-loving and free country where groundbreaking ideas come to life. And it's smart. Because Slovenia's know-how is used for automotive testing. And every single car in the world has at least one component made in Slovenia. And because it's one of the leading manufacturers of generic pharmaceuticals. Of course, Slovenia is already famous for its hospitality and locally grown food. And its engineers never stop working on cutting-edge automation. While its companies constantly push the barriers in technological innovation. And all because of its brilliant people, educated and reliable, multilingual and talented, who can improve the quality of your life or even help you reach the stars. Now I've been here, I know that Slovenia is a land of infinite potential with fantastic opportunities. Which one will you take? Slovenia, a land of infinite potential for your business. Make the most of it.
Hello, welcome back, and thank you for staying with us for our final panel of the day, where we will be looking at workforce and the labor market in Slovenia. And to help us, we have our guests today, Mr. Sandi Meke, Senior Advisor at the Employment Agency of the Republic of Slovenia, Mr. Matic Vošnjak, Managing Partner of Competo HR Consulting Company, and Mr. Uroš Rozman, Director of the Regional Development Agency of Podravje and Maribor. So, as in the previous panel, we will first look at the presentations by each of our guests, and then we will move on to the discussion. So, Mr. Meke, can we start with you first, please?
It's an honor to be invited to this conference. I think questions about human potential are the most important to ask when thinking about investing or doing business in a country. As a member of the Public Employment Service, I truly believe it is the employees who make or break your business success. Now, the European labor market is quite competitive. The unemployment rates are relatively low. We are getting older as a continent, and of course, employers have difficulties in finding candidates for their open position. So, what can you expect when you come to Slovenia? The Slovenian labor market has been doing well in the last years. Employer demand is on the rise. The number of unemployed is dropping, and consequently, we have seen a change in the structure of unemployed and a rise in employment of foreign workers. The unemployment rate in Slovenia, according to the labor force survey, is around 4%, which is under the European average. The Slovenian labor market is relatively small due to the country's size, but may provide you with what you are looking for. The labor force is also quite flexible. We see many career transitions between occupations, but also between different sectors. So there is a great opportunity for companies with quality offers who want to enter our market. We have had some good experience with foreign investors in the past. It's important also to note that there are some regional differences in Slovenia to keep in mind when coming to Slovenia. For instance, the unemployment rate is higher in eastern Slovenia, while employer demand is highest in central Slovenia, where we have a concentration of economic activity. Employer demand is especially high in construction and manufacturing. The most often sought workers at our employment service include laborers in manufacturing, workers in construction, cleaners, heavy truck drivers, waiters, healthcare professionals, welders, and so on. Luckily, Slovenia offers a great network of professionals to help you in the area of recruitment. Employment Service of Slovenia has a network of offices for employers which are located in all larger cities. Professional counselors in those offices will assist you when you open your business in Slovenia free of charge and when you start recruiting workers. And this help includes publication of job vacancies, searching for workers, organizing recruitment events, organizing job fairs, and if perhaps there are not enough professionals in our labor market, we can help you either by providing training of unemployed, and when there are no suitable training programs available, we can create a new one in cooperation with the employer or with other means. Slovenia is also an interesting target country for workers from Southeast Europe. Slovenia provides a high quality of life for those workers. It is close and familiar to them. So when there are no domestic candidates available in Slovenia, you can complement your workforce with workers from abroad. So I believe the support offered by offices for employers, which is again free of charge, is something to take account in combination with the high quality of life provided in Slovenia when you think about your next business destination.
Zavod Republike Slovenije za zaposlovanje je ključni povezovalec na trgu dela, z dolgoletnimi izkušnjami pa tudi dejaven partner pri iskanju novih sodelavcev.
Z Zavodom za zaposlovanje imamo izredno dobre izkušnje. Pravzaprav je to privilegij za naše podjetje, da smo lahko z njim sodelovali. Predvsem prenos dobre prakse. To, da so poiskali visoko kvalificiran kader, ki smo ga mi v tem trenutku rabili na področju IKT, je za nas neprecenljiv.
Izpostavil bi predvsem sodelovanje na področju usposabljanja na delovnem mestu, kjer smo v preteklosti skupaj z Zavodom uspeli usposobiti 15 kandidatk za samostojno opravljanje poklica keramičar.
Naše pisarne za delodajalce lahko poiščete po vsej Sloveniji. V njih vam nudimo brezplačne storitve, ki so krojene po vaših potrebah. Pisarne za delodajalce. Skupaj ustvarjamo zaposlitvene priložnosti.
Thank you, Mr. Meke. Mr. Wozniak, can we look at your presentation right now?
Hello, everybody. My name is Matic Wozniak. I'm a managing partner of Slovene's largest HR consulting company, Competo. Today, I'm going to talk to you about Competo, about our services, and I'm going to present you some insights from the market I have seen in my career. I will start with a few words about the labor market and its changes around the world that I'm pretty sure you're all very aware of. A lot of employers are talking about talent shortages. But knowing about this shortage, and together with two other statistics about disengaged people at work and the number of professionals that are willing to change employers, it should be clear to all of us that we as employers just have to change. Change on how we attract, employ people should be potential-based and not experience-based. Think and act on employee experience. We should lead by example and purpose. Actively build and navigate our corporate culture, and nonetheless understand different generations and provide an environment that will enable all of them to be engaged. We at Competo understand that every company has three brands: corporate brand, consumer brand, and employer brand. Last one is our work ground. It is where we can be your HR strategic partner. What we do, we work at attracting new employees. We work in executive search and headhunting and retaining your current employees. So HR due diligence procedures, organizational development, and in HR strategic positioning. We work in setting up HR systems and their development, and people and teams development. I would like to emphasize the importance of HR due diligence today. M&A procedures are all about managing risks, mostly done in finance, legal, and IT. M&As usually do not include HR risks, but there are quite a few and can be financially quite substantial. On one hand, we're talking about people risks. Who are the key strategic and operational people? Does the company have enough talent on board? How can we minimize regretted losses during integration phase of an M&A? I'll tell you an example. 2 years ago, we were contacted by a company that did an M&A in Slovenia in the IT industry. That was in the integration phase of an M&A and was losing its key people. Of course, they were desperate to hire new people, and we helped, but it was costly and time-consuming. We together did a post-analysis on the process and found out that they did not do any HR risk assessment, and at the end, the total cost was 6% of yearly PAX, and this cost could be avoided. And on the other hand, it's about HR systems maturity risk. We'll be talking about compensation and benefit systems, contracts, trade union agreements, and not to forget a big part, corporate culture and how we manage all the factors in the integration phase. All that should be checked to properly assess what is your financial exposure that you might face. I'll give you another example that this year we'll hire to do these checks for an investor that already bought a company in the services industry a year ago. Together, we realized that in the integration phase, it will take more time than initially planned as the goal alignment was done poorly, and this will cost them money. In Competo, we understand how HR can be a make it or break it when entering a market, and we can help you make it.
Thank you. And now we have a final presentation of today from Mr. Rosman.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here. The Regional Development Agency for Podravje Maribor promotes the potentials of the Podravje region and coordinates its sustainable development. Agency performs individual tasks within the general service in 4 sectors. Sector for regional development, sector for entrepreneurship, sector for research, development and innovation, and tourism sector. Our agency is among the oldest and largest in Slovenia. Within 28 years, 258 projects and 35 experts. The Podravje region, with its diversity, self-sufficiency, sustainable development, innovation and creative economy and satisfied people, offers the best service for a quality stay and an unforgettable vacation, and opens the way for creativity and innovation. In the region, we have 41 municipalities, 325,000 inhabitants, 126,000 working actively, and GDP per capita is around 18,000 euro. So, why the Podravje region? Because we have available, well-educated, skilled and reliable workforce. We have excellent location in the center of Europe, in 10 and 4th corridors. Nearby its motorway junction and railway, and also an international airport. So, what are the best opportunities due to regional potential? We have machinery production, we have food production and processing, we have tourism, ECT, e-commerce, and real estate opportunities. As part of Invest Podravje Slovenia project that we are a leader in Podravje region, we have help finding optimal sites for your investment. We are consultants during the investment period. We do investment aftercare. We have overview of investment opportunities in the region, especially on the website Invest Podravje. And we do investment promotion for individual investment opportunities. So, for companies that are already in our region, we offer ecosystem for the promotion and the development of entrepreneurship, free business, consultancy, supporting service, and management of business and production premises in the region. So, welcome to Podravje, the region of opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you to all our panelists, and welcome to the studio. I would just like to remind our audience, as you know, I have loads of questions for all of our guests, but please do place your questions in a chat box that is available online if you have anything that you want to ask. So, we have a representative from an HR company, we have someone from the Regional Development Agency, and we have a representative from the National Employment Service. Can I ask all of you, currently, when the employers, potential investors or whoever contacts you, what are the skills that they are looking for at the moment? What is the current trend? Could I start with you, Mr. Voshnik?
I wouldn't say that it's any different, either foreign investors coming in or the Slovene companies. I wouldn't differentiate in that sense. So it's pretty much the same. It's the soft skills that matter the most. And then later on, we check the suitability in terms of how other competencies fit the bill.
Okay. What is your experience currently when employers contact you, and when presumably investors as well? What are they looking for?
I can agree with the colleague, but I have also experienced that also machinery engineering and IKT is very looking for, because some companies in Germany are opening companies in Slovenia, Maribor, our region, that are looking for young skilled workers who can help the development process of the companies in Germany. So this is a very good opportunity for all young people in Slovenia to maybe have a good job also here, and for investments also.
You say machinery and ICT skills, and basically what you're saying is that the companies from Germany are setting up support services in Slovenia for
developing support, because the price are and the BGP is very low in Slovenia if we compare to Germany, but people are as same skills as they have, so it's very good opportunity also for German investment for here in Slovenia.
Okay. Mr. Meke, I'm sure that a lot of, not just directly, but indirectly through the agencies, the regional agencies and the Spirit Slovenia as well, contact you when investors contact them to ask for specific skills. What has been the trend lately?
Well, if we just talk about foreign investors, I have to concur with my colleagues. They're no different than the domestic employers, and they also usually search for workers in the same sectors where the domestic employers are searching for workers. Of course, there are some differences. They have a lot more questions about the country, about the labor law, for instance, and while it is my experience that they are more open to more flexible, for instance, working arrangements such as short working time. They might have some more requirements regarding language skills, but all in all, they are usually workers, employers who, I would say, invest in their employer brand and are usually quite attractive for our job seekers.
But what sort of skills are they looking for lately?
Well,
what has been the trend?
Yeah, if I talk about the labor market in general, which is the same as with foreign investors, we have seen a rise in employer demand, and especially from employers in construction and manufacturing, there has been a huge rise in job vacancies. So currently, the occupations where employers are searching for workers are pretty much similar than what they were searching for the last 10 years. So mainly for lower skilled workers and workers with, let's say, vocational education who would work in manufacturing, construction. They're looking for welders, truck drivers, but also some professionals. And I would emphasize professionals from the healthcare sector, but also engineers, mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, electrical engineers, and of course, IT specialists. But I guess that's the same pretty much all across Europe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very similar, isn't it? But labor market is very competitive at the moment as well. What advice would you, Mr. Wozniak, give to any employer now in this current environment when they're looking for soft skills or looking for professionals to join the company? Because pay is not the deciding factor anymore, is it?
No, it's not. It's one of the factors, of course. It's a hygienic. Let's put it like that. Let me give you a bit of a background before we go into that.
Yes, of course.
What is the cost of bad hire? So if you hire the wrong person, what you do is accumulate a cost of 2 to 5 times of all the payments in the whole period of the person that you had on board. So to understand what are we doing in the whole, if we don't have the right person on the right place, 5 times means, GMs, managers, 2 times it's like skilled workers in manufacturing, stuff like that. So what we've done a research on how much, what was the last reason for change between, we do quite a lot of social researchers and on social media, and we've asked them, what was the last reason why you changed your job? And the number one, and it's nothing specific to Slovenia, it's quite common, it's because of their leader. Direct superior, and because of the interpersonal relations. On the second, and that's 45% of people said that. That's why they changed. 25% was work itself, and 15% was benefits, salary, and everything else that you get. So the most important thing when you want to have engaged people is about building your employer brand, as Sandy already mentioned, and I mentioned also before. It's vital for today, but it shouldn't be only marketing based. We should need to understand that it's branding, but it's not marketing brand, just a marketing brand. You need to have substance, and because you could in the Slovene market, it's small market, and you can get a boomerang effect. And maybe just another thing,
what
when
do you mean
enter
by boomerang effect?
Slovenia is small. We pretty much know everybody, Like you're very 2-3 steps, and you're from one end to the other end. So if you don't have substance in terms of how you build your brand, people will know.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying not just marketing. It should be it's an HR marketing communications tool. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. That was really, really insightful. Can I just ask you, Mr. Osman, in Maribor, you're very close to Austria. There is an issue of people who live in the area. They often go and work in Austria. So how are you dealing with that issue, let's say?
Yes, indeed.
Let's say a problem, but an issue.
I think there was not enough focus in the past to dedicate this problem in our region. But this really came to us now, and I think also the problem was because in the 2008, when this crisis came, our city, our region really lost a lot of jobs. So this crisis really evolved, and as you mentioned, it's not problem also only in Podravje region, but also in Pomurje region, also in Koroška region. So all this part of Slovenia have the same problem. So, but nevertheless, as we told before, when I talk to people, one side they appreciate, of course, high payments, but on the other side, the problem is they spend a lot of time to drive to Austria. This is 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, and they really want to also have much more time with their family, for themselves. And that's why I think this is also important to maybe find some solutions for nice, good jobs in our region, and they will come back. So maybe if salary will not be as high as in Austria, but other part of the life is also important, and I think it's not so hard to bring them back. But things are changing. We are preparing some measures to reverse this trend. We have already started to attract investors with high add value. So at the very moment, we are working on a strategy that would define these sectors with the add value, and which we can offer a high value propositions also for our investors, for which sector they can come in our region. And after that, we intend to get companies from these sectors. And in addition, we have the ambition to create some new gravity points in our region, which would contain young talents in the region. We are also working with our university in Maribor, because a lot of students, when they when they finish their degree, they already have job in Austria, and this is a problem. They don't even look in Slovenia. They even look in Maribor or Podravje region. They just go across the border, and we will start to work with our students and also try to make some network business incubator for them, to make them opportunity a space for starting the company already in Slovenia, and to really work with our existing companies that we have already.
In the first panel, we discussed a lot the incentives, and it was mentioned we had guests from the Ministry of Economy, and they said that there are certain areas in Slovenia where there are additional incentives to try and attract investors to establish their businesses there. Is Maribor one of those regions where those apply?
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit more about that?
We start working on this process in 2015, when we have a really big problem in Maribor. There was a high unemployment rate. So the ministry gave us money for especially for looking for investment, and then we start with a project called Invest Podravje. and we have really good results. Also, Magna is one of them. We are also helped with this project, and now we also convinced our municipalities to give us some money to make more on this project, to really work with municipalities what they want, where they have place for new investors, because this is really 1-2 work. And I think with our platform, Invest Podravia website that I said, we have more than 50 investment opportunities already signed there.
What is the website?
www.investpodravia.
www.investpodravia.
And investments can look there, and there are investments in companies. They can invest in the field. So we have all kind of investment on that website.
Okay, I have a few more questions for you, but Mr. Meke, can I just interject here? We also talked about, specialized staff with high quality, high skills, and what sort of advice and that bring added value as well. Yes, what sort of advice would you give to employers, foreign and local, when they are looking for those kind of staff?
Well, there is no one advice to give, because it very much depends on the staff they're looking for and the region where they're looking for these people. But I would definitely suggest to contact our office for employer in that area, and they will take a look at the case they have and give them advice, because it's very different if you're looking for an IT specialist, which probably will not come from the employment service, because there are very few who are unemployed. You need to search through other channels. But in some cases, we can assist, in recruitment of this personnel, also from the employment service, or by recruiting from abroad, or through other means. I will not say training, because usually when you are searching for highly specialized staff, you cannot train them that easily. But there is more than one solution in such cases.
And can I ask all of you, how closely do you work with universities, especially you, Mr. Rozum, because you said, we have graduates who graduate and they're off to Austria before even giving a chance to a Slovenian employer to give them a job. Mr. Volchnik, actually, can I start with you? Do you work with universities as well?
University, it's not our not our field. We mostly work with middle top managers, so it's not really.
It's not really a question for you, Mr. Rozum. Sorry.
Yes, of course. As I told, we have meetings every month with our university, especially our faculty for ICT, because a lot of students go immediately to Austria, and now we did incubator, and also we have one project in Novum. We are trying to bring them back and even help them to find a job in our region, and we are also planning to make more effort to come to bring investors in this field, because we are lacking of these good jobs on this IT.
What about connection between companies, Maribor-based companies and universities?
Yes.
How does that?
For example, we have a computer, one of the better computer in EU on field of ICT, and we are trying to this computer bring also to our companies in our region to help with computer, to have some analysis on them. So I think these are trying to involve, but not as we want to. And I think another year or two, maybe some new projects can help to make it better.
Okay. Mr. Meke, can I just also ask, what industries have a surplus labor at the moment, if any?
Yes, well, our employment service does quite a lot of labor market forecasts, and we initiate also surveys between our employers, so we have quite good information in that area. And our last survey, unfortunately the next survey will be available in the next week, but the last survey, well, employers from almost all sectors, at least from most important sectors, told us they will be hiring, they will be raising the number of their employees, so they do not have a surplus of workers. And around 30% of employers tell us they have troubles recruiting especially in healthcare, construction, and manufacturing. However, this does not mean that you cannot, let's say, get the workers you need, because we have quite good experience also with employers from the same mentioned sectors, as long as it was already mentioned, their offer is, let's say, enough to attract job seekers. We also have very good employers from manufacturing, for instance, who offer, let's say, a good salary, who offer, let's say, good working hours, who have a good working environment, who invest in their employees and in the raising of skills of their employees, and they're very good employers and have no troubles recruiting whatsoever.
Mr. Moshek, what about your experience? Are you facing any issues of surplus or lack of?
I mean, mostly when companies contact us, it's about lack of.
Lack of.
Otherwise, it would be easy; they would do it on their own. It's IT is one of the fields that we actually don't go into anymore. We don't dare.
Why not? Because it's just.
It's the supply and demand there is a mismatch, and we don't want to disappoint our clients in saying yes, we can do this if we can't.
Okay.
So this is one of the things. But on the other hand, we don't really go into surpluses because we actively engage with the labor market. So we always have a surplus because our positions that we work on is there's only one person that is selected, so the rest are. However surplus. Weird it sounds, it's a surplus, yeah.
They're surplus. Okay. Mr. Rosman, what sort of investors would you like? Obviously, you will need you are working on trying to attract more investors. But what are the investors that you would like to see come to your region to create what sort of jobs?
Yes, we want investments in mechanical engineering, in, of course, food production, because this is about the COVID crisis is very important. Yes, we have also good opportunity for that kind of investment.
What sort of opportunity?
Because we have a lot of field, and we have also our region is most developed in Slovenia in that part of food production. So. That's why we want to have more investment on that part, because we have also good companies already there. We have also e-commerce, of course, tourism in Pohorje, Drava, and whole region, and also logistic because of our location at the middle of Europe, and we have, as I told, our railway and airport international. So we have a very good place, so-called Maribor hub, because there can be around 700 hectares of field for that kind of logistic center in that part of the Europe.
Okay, Mr. Meke, how do you see further trends in terms of the employment market in Slovenia, and what kind of jobs do you think will be in demand in the near future and long term as well?
Yeah. At the moment, we mainly focus on short-term predictions. So the situation has pretty much been the same for the last decade, and probably will not change dramatically in a few years. But you have all these mega trends going on, from globalization, to the greening of the economy, digitalization, automation. But the biggest trend, which is here already, is the aging of the population. So we already face a situation where we have more people leaving the labor market than entering it, especially people who finished a vocational education. So the near future will probably be the same as at the moment. A lack of, let's say, people with vocational skills sought after from employers. But at the moment, we are working on a new project, a career platform, which will allow us to get also midterm and long-term predictions of skills and occupations required by employers. And I think that will be a very good base to know what will happen in the future, the real future. And of course, this will also provide the necessary data to adapt our educational system, our trainings, employers' trainings, to work to be, let's say, a good country for a business destination.
Do you know of any, sorry, we didn't discuss this earlier, but do you know of any strategy that is trying to address the aging population? Are you aware, are you working on anything possibly?
Not our employment service, but there was a wonderful project with the Fund for Human Resources Development. So they were really active in promoting, let's say, a catalog of possible activities to address your aging, let's say, staff. They also have a great brand for companies who are friendly to their aging employees. There was great information campaign, but I think the biggest, let's say, thing that happened is that employer adapt to the situation we are in right now, and I think it's terrible to say that someone over 50 is old, because they are not. They have a third of their career in front of them and still have a lot to give. But this also means that we, as employees, need to invest in our skills in order for the skills to be up to date and to stay competitive and, let's say, to stay interesting as workers for our employers until we retire.
Mr. Wozniak, is there anything that you could add to this in terms of future trends as well?
I don't think anything that Sandy missed needs to be added, but maybe just, this was a really good project. It wasn't just, it's how to activate the 50 plus, and this is we need to change our competencies, not to stand by that. You can't, when you're 75 or 73 or whatever age we are going to be when we exit the labor market. We can't be manual workers. How do you upgrade your competencies and skills to be still a value added on the labor market?
Okay, and what about the measures and incentives that are used? How are they used and adapted in the actual labor market, the measures and incentives that come from the government, obviously? And do you also, no, that's the second question. I'll let you answer that first.
Sure. Usually we start with the incentives. Well, I come from the employment service, and obviously our incentives are a little bit different than maybe other government incentives. And I would say there are mainly two types of incentives employers get from the employment service. The first type of incentives are subsidies. So this is the money you get when you employ someone who is unemployed and is perhaps long-term unemployed, older, someone without a high level of education, maybe a young person without any job experience, and you get a subsidy up to 666 euros or less per month to employ this person at least for a year. And the other type of incentives we offer are training incentives. And there are two types of training incentives. You can either, as an employer, decide to have on-the-job training. You take an unemployed person, you train them, you provide the mentor. The unemployed person gets new skills, new experience, and you get to know them. And this is really very much, let's say, there is a great interest from employers for these programs because they get to know a person, try them out before they employ them. So it's a win-win situation for both parties. And the second type of trainings we do are trainings for the demand in the labor market. So we have over 140 programs available for the unemployed, and we train security guards, welders, social caretakers, truck drivers in order to meet the employer's needs. So there is really a lot we can do. And if the employer needs a special program, we can adapt and create a new one. So in the field of training, I think we are quite strong and can offer a lot to employers who wish to do a common story with us.
And this is all covered by you, not by the employer? Okay. We have a question from the audience. Do you think there will be some major changes in the labor market due to the pandemic acceleration in digitalization and remote work? We can't escape the pandemic, I'm afraid. Who would like to take this up?
I can try. I'm probably you guys will add to certain things. Well, my opinion, what happened a year and a half ago is that we accelerated our transition in how we work. I do believe that today's reality where we work remotely, part-time here, part-time there, it doesn't really matter as long as the job is done, is something that we would come to in 5 to 7 years. That was my prediction. Now it happened faster. no, the question behind it is how we take care of our employees, how do we lead, how do we take care of our corporate culture, where does this lead? And this is, something that will change. But the first steps for me were done, and I don't think that the labor market will be affected by this. It can also, but on the other hand, be an opportunity, that for companies in Slovenia to hire somebody for one day from I don't know where. Because we will go into the future work talks about specialization, specific skills that a company needs, and somebody can provide to 3 or 4 or 5 different employers at the same time.
But it's also like the second part, one part of this question was also about the acceleration in digitalization in companies. That has definitely...
That happened, of course.
Accelerated.
What I find, maybe just yes. It's what I find really amazing is because when we started doing remote work, if you needed to be in a suit with a tie and everything else, today everything is really more relaxed. And if the IT didn't work properly, we were all stressed out. Now it's the children are screaming around us, and that's all fine. And I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
It is, yes, I agree. With kids as well.
Yeah.
Would you like to add? Would you like to?
I think this can be also.
Aspect.
Yes, I think this remote work could be also a problem for us because now when people have to drive 1 hour to Austria and back, these 2 hours is not a problem anymore. So I think in this part of view could be a problem to bring them back,
Maybe investing in IT infrastructure is not the thing for your region.
Not good for our region.
Sorry, a bit of joking. What would you like to add?
There are 3 words I liked in the question. Acceleration is the right word. Things that would happen otherwise happened faster. And the second thing is, the word pandemic is not the scariest one in the question. The word change is much more scary for most of our employees and our job seekers and even employers. The funniest thing that happened during the first wave of the pandemic, we didn't really react, but when the second wave came, we said, okay, this thing will probably last. We need to change a little bit. And it gave us a really good push. But the funniest thing, everyone thought it was the unemployed who needed, let's say, a push to be more upskilled in the area of digitalization. But the reality was also public employment servants needed this. And I mostly work with SMEs, so smaller and medium-sized companies. They also had troubles, making a Zoom recruitment call, So after, all this time, I see really, really fast changes in all areas, in all partners I work with. So definitely the major changes have already occurred, and they will stay here because things like hybrid events or virtual job fairs or working from home or let's say having all these courses which was usually done in person online, this will definitely stay. If we just mention a couple of things from my line of work.
So basically Slovenia is more or less on a par with what's happening in the world. Okay, we mentioned at the beginning of this conference, and we talk about it a lot, the quality of Slovenia's workforce. So, you are out there working both with employers and the employees. Could you give me, or give us rather, a sum up of what is the feedback that you're getting? What are your thoughts on, unbiased? I know it's hard, but unbiased. What is it that you're hearing about the Slovenia's labor or workforce? Mr.
Well, with most of clients that Slovene clients talk less about the quality of the workers, so they have less comparison to foreign clients, and the mutual agreement is that we have quality people. There is a question of dedication or engagement. And this is low, again, across the board, either you talk about EU or worldwide, but that can be tackled. But in terms of quality, we have quality workers in Slovenia on all levels. Pretty sure.
Can you just give us a few examples of quality? What do you mean by quality? Highly educated?
Okay, highly educated. The added value is high. The productivity where we work in industries is high. This is what I mean with quality.
Okay. Just for the clarity's sake, what industries do you said you don't work with IT anymore.
Yeah.
But what are the industries that you work?
We mostly work in financial services, so it's insurances and banks. This is still a huge pillar for us. It's services, so meaning professional services plus FMCGs, and commerce. And the biggest pillar is production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Rosman, you're obviously very good because the Austrians are...
Yes, I can agree. Educated workforce is very good, and also we don't have problems with foreign languages. So that's why we are very needed in Austria and also in Germany. So I think we are very good, and I hope also investments from these countries will come more and more to our region and also invest over here, because we have them here and they want to live also there, because we have also good quality of life. And I think this is also very important.
Okay. Mr. Meke, what would you like to
Well, it's hard to add something to that, but I think it's really important to say that Slovenia is not only a safe country, it's a really nice place to live in. And this provides, let's say, it's like a magnet for workers also from other countries who are professionals and would like to have a better life. And they come here. 12% of our workforce is from abroad, mainly from Bosnia and Serbia and Kosovo, North Macedonia, from that area. So there is something going on in Slovenia which attracts workers. And as it was mentioned, well, most employers who come here say it's a really they're really satisfied with the quality of the workforce. It's hard to say what exactly is behind it, but they say they're really satisfied. And we see also some funny things. For instance, we had this big manufacturing company. It has companies all over the world, and they say the first thing they noticed in Slovenia, for some reason, they employ a lot of women in Slovenia because the gender gap maybe is smaller in Slovenia, or there is women are more involved in let's say in this working life. So, for instance, their experience was that they never thought they would employ so many women, and they were a manufacturing company. So that was some interesting thing I saw, for instance, in a practical setting. But other than that, I think most of the things were already covered by my colleagues today.
Okay. I see we are running out of time. I'm just going to ask you one final question. Your view on the modern business investment environment, where there are very rapid relocations of industry and global online employment of highly technologically skilled staff. What is your view on that?
Maybe I already started talking about it. I touched the point, and it's I see it as an opportunity for employers and for employees. There are no borders. We can work from anywhere we want. We can, the future of work can tell us that not just hybrid work, but we can also do work for different employers. And this is something that I'm looking actually forward to it. And it's also solving the robotization, automatization is also solving some of our issues that we actually have, and that's the aging population. What Sandy mentioned, the shortage on the labor market. So I'm all for. So I'm excited.
Mr. Rosman, your view?
I think this is also an opportunity for our workforce to find a job maybe in America and Asia, because now they don't need to go there. They can just work, with the computer, with new technology. And I think IT is also an opportunity to stay people that, a lot of young people from Slovenia go abroad and they don't come back because they have their jobs and their life and everything, family. But now young people can find a job also abroad, but they can stay here. So I think this is an opportunity for future Slovenia.
That's a good point. Mr. Meke?
Well, global trends are global because they're everywhere and you cannot change them, even if you try to. So it's best to adapt. I think that is an opportunity for Slovenia. We will never be the biggest economy, obviously, or the biggest labor market. We cannot compete with size. But I would say definitely, and experience has shown, we can compete with quality. And this is also something that is required of us to be really aware that lifelong learning, being really careful about our career decision and constant upskilling is something that will give us as a country, as an economy, really this competitive edge. And if we do that, we have nothing to worry about, I would say.
Okay, I have one more question from the audience. Do I have time? When value added is actually carried out in a particular country, and then sales take place from another country, and taxes are paid in a third country, where is Slovenia in this story?
I will leave the question to my colleagues.
Well, okay. First, to separate the question at the end of the day, the G20 summit now, there will be some changes globally also in the taxation issues. So that's one thing that, but I don't believe that Slovenia will be, the lowest taxated country in the world. But still, if you say, the value added is something that where we are and where I also believe that we will be.
Quite strong. Okay, well, we are running out of time. I want to thank our guests today, all of you who were here, and I hope that you enjoyed today's conference and that you had some really informative and useful information. For any additional info that you would like to get, just contact any of our guests and I'm sure they'll be happy to help you. I hope you have an enjoyable rest of the day and thank you very much for being with us.